You ever get that rare feeling where you know deep down you're not just watching a game, you're witnessing a turning point in history? That's what this moment is for Cleveland. It's not just about a quarterback change, not just about a coach reluctantly shuffling a depth chart. No, this runs deeper. This is about identity, about survival, about a city that's carried decades of heartbreak suddenly finding itself on the edge of something it hasn't felt in generations: belief. And at the center of it all is one young man, Sanders. His rise isn't simply a storyline, it's an earthquake, a cultural shockwave rattling locker rooms, boardrooms, and bar rooms across the Midwest. And the craziest part? It doesn't feel manufactured. It doesn't feel like hype. It feels like fate, like desperation finally meeting destiny head-on. Now, before I dive in, let me remind you, I'm giving away an official jersey to one of my subscribers. Free! All you gotta do is drop a comment and make sure you're subscribed. That's it. Before the first regular season kickoff, I'll pick a winner. So, if you've been waiting to join this community, now's the moment. Hit that subscribe, leave your take in the comments, and you might be the one repping a fresh jersey when the season begins. Now let's get into it. According to insiders, the breaking point came when Kevin Stefanski, the man who had resisted it all, finally cracked.
He ignored the chants echoing from the stands, brushed off the headlines plastered across sports pages, even pushed back against whispers in his own locker room. But then, on one heavy afternoon, he walked into the press room with a carefully typed statement clutched in his hands. And that's when it happened. His words said one thing, but his body told the truth. His shoulders were slumped, his voice flat, his eyes hollow. This wasn't a man celebrating a choice. This was a man surrendering to forces bigger than himself. The quote was simple: "Sanders gives Cleveland its best opportunity moving forward." But behind that single line, you could hear the city exhale. Years of frustration, ridicule, and hopelessness suddenly giving way to something new. But let's be clear, this wasn't Stefanski's vision. This was ownership pulling the strings. Reports say Jimmy Haslam laid it out in brutal, unshakable terms: start Sanders or face consequences. There was no wiggle room, no room for pride. It wasn't about coaching strategy anymore, it was survival. And the instant the decision became public, the entire franchise shifted. Coordinators stayed up late into the night, redrawing plays, rethinking the offense around Sanders' mobility and arm strength. Veterans who had been sleepwalking through camp suddenly sharpened their focus. Receivers buzzed with anticipation, knowing their routes now had purpose. Even defensive players, guys who normally keep their heads down, admitted privately, at last we're moving forward instead of sideways. That isn't just optimism. That's a heartbeat being restored to a team that had flatlined. And for fans, vindication. After being humiliated in Philadelphia, after watching empty seats, after seeing ratings collapse, this was the apology they'd been begging for. Not with words, but with action. But let's not ignore the fallout. Joe Flacco, the veteran warrior, a Super Bowl MVP, reduced to a safety net. Cameras catch him smiling, saying the right things, but behind closed doors, he's devastated. His agent's already testing the market. Dillon Gabriel, he's fuming. A once promising project, now leapfrogged overnight. And whispers creep through the league. Is this purely about performance? Or is it about jersey sales, about star power, about headlines? But here's the truth: Sanders earned it. His preseason wasn't just impressive, it was electrifying. Precision under pressure, explosive drives, a presence that elevated everyone on the field. You could see it in the trenches. The offensive line fought harder to protect him. Running lanes opened wider. Receivers ran with sharper cuts, more belief in their legs. And outside the stadium, the ripple effect was staggering. Ticket prices spiked, jerseys flew off shelves, restaurants and bars prepped for crowds like it was playoff weekend. The networks themselves tore up schedules, promoting Saturday's matchup like a prime-time showdown. And on the other side of the field, the Los Angeles Rams. They've been scheming all week, dialing up exotic blitzes, disguising coverages, planning to humble him. They want to expose him, embarrass him, send a message. But Sanders isn't like most rookies. Pressure isn't new, it's the air he breathes. The son of Don Sanders, raised under the glare of expectation, he's built for this spotlight. Where others choke, he inhales. But this isn't just about one preseason snap. This is about Cleveland's identity. For decades, the Browns have been a story of indecision, chaos, and collapse. But this move, this feels different. This feels like a declaration. They're planting their flag on a young quarterback who embodies youth, hope, and courage. And the ripple effects? Massive. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, they've all felt the tremor. Even before Sanders takes a single official snap, he's already shifted the balance of the AFC North. Inside the organization, they're treating him like gold. Medical staff doubling protocols, nutritionists on call, trainers crafting individual recovery programs. Every detail checked and double-checked because they know one awkward hit could derail everything. Meanwhile, Gabriel simmers in frustration. Flacco swallows his pride and mentors the kid. And ownership demands results now, not next year, not in 5 years. Behind closed doors, philosophies clash. Offensive coordinator Van Pelt wants to unleash Sanders. Stefanski, scarred by years of coaching battles, wants to pull back, ease him in. Ownership? They don't care about patience. They care about spectacle, ratings, and money. That's why this debut isn't just a game. It's an event. Reporters track every detail: what he eats, what he drives, how many throws he makes in warm-ups. The hype has grown too large to control. And the Sanders effect? It's everywhere. Tickets selling for playoff prices, local businesses rolling out Sanders-themed menus, bars hosting watch parties for a preseason game. Think about that. A preseason game treated like a national holiday. Even the franchise legends weigh in, some preaching hope, others warning caution. But through it all, Sanders doesn't flinch. Watch the film. You see him manipulating safeties with his eyes, diagnosing coverages like a veteran, staying calm when chaos surrounds him. The analytics love him. The instincts are undeniable. And the organization, they're not just building a player, they're building a cornerstone, a face of the franchise. Saturday night against the Rams will be remembered, one way or another. Even the forecast seems poetic. Thunderstorms on the horizon, as if the skies themselves know a storm is coming. And whether Sanders dazzles or struggles, one truth is already locked in. Cleveland has changed. Doubt replaced with hope. Fear replaced with momentum. Because Sanders isn't just a quarterback. He's a catalyst. The spark that turns dysfunction into belief and despair into destiny. Sports doesn't reward the safe. It rewards the bold. And Cleveland, for once, chose bold. Now the question is simple. Does Sanders carry them into a renaissance, or does the weight of this gamble crush the dream before it begins? Either way, history is waiting, and we're about to watch it unfold. You ever sit down to watch what should be nothing more than a quiet, meaningless preseason game, and then halfway through you realize, wait a second, this isn't just football anymore. This is history shifting right in front of you. That's what Saturday night felt like in Cleveland. A throwaway exhibition on paper, but in reality, a cultural earthquake. Something that went way beyond first downs, touchdowns, or final scores. From the very start, you could feel the weight. The kind of weight where even the smallest details suddenly matter. I'm talking about the inactive list. It wasn't just a list anymore, it was a storyline. Analysts broke it down like it was a leaked government file. The coin toss. Fans were dissecting who called heads or tails like it was a prophecy for the season. Even halftime adjustments, usually ignored in August, got treated like philosophers debating the meaning of life. And at the center of it all, Kevin Stefanski. Every call he made, every lineup he chose, every substitution. People weren't seeing coaching decisions anymore, they were seeing declarations. Was he standing tall behind Sanders? Was he hesitant? Was he revealing trust or exposing fear? That's the tension we lived in. On the field, it was electric. Veterans, the guys who normally jog through preseason reps, couldn't coast this time. They knew eyes were everywhere. They knew the energy in that stadium wasn't normal. They knew that kid under center, Sanders, had changed the whole chemistry of the locker room. And the rookies, they were fighting for their lives. Every snap was gold. Every block, every catch, every tackle was a plea to be seen, a chance to prove they belonged in Sanders' orbit.
It wasn't just about surviving roster cuts anymore. It was about attaching themselves to the most magnetic storyline in football. But let me tell you, outside that stadium, it was even crazier. You'd have thought it was January in Cleveland, not August. The tailgates looked like the AFC Championship had arrived early. Music shaking the streets, flags waving, people hugging like they'd already won something. Smoke from the grills filling the air, chants echoing through the parking lots. It wasn't just a game, it was an awakening. That's what Sanders brought, a playoff pulse to a city starving for one. And the ripple didn't stop in Cleveland. No, Vegas lit up. Futures skyrocketed overnight. Prop bets multiplied by the hour. Odds makers adjusted like they were dealing with a mid-season MVP candidate, not a rookie quarterback still waiting to throw his first regular season pass. And then came the endorsements. Nike, Adidas, Under Armour circling. Tech companies, gaming companies, lifestyle brands desperate to attach themselves to this new wave. Jersey sales? Off the charts. Ticket renewals? Surging. Even across the globe. Europe, Asia, markets that barely blinked at Browns football before suddenly started tuning in. Think about that for a second. Decades of pain, decades of dysfunction, and now one young quarterback has turned Cleveland into a potential international brand.
And it wasn't smoke, it wasn't hype. On the field, it was real. You could see it with your own eyes. Defenses had to respect his arm, so much so that running lanes opened wide. Receivers weren't just running routes, they were clawing for chemistry, knowing one highlight connection with Sanders could change their entire careers. The offensive line, they weren't blocking just for pride, they were protecting a future, treating Sanders like the heartbeat of the franchise. And the defense, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, they were looser, freer, because finally they believed the offense could hold up its end of the bargain. Even special teams locked in tighter. Every kick, every return, executed like it carried the weight of a playoff game. But here's where it got chilling. Cleveland's past. The quarterback graveyard. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. A wasteland of names, once promising, now forgotten. Talents that got swallowed whole by dysfunction, impatience, chaos. Sanders is stepping into that same haunted ground. And here's the truth. No matter how good he is, there are no guarantees. Cleveland's history has buried better men. But for the first time in a long time, the doubt is getting drowned out by something louder. Belief. This time, it feels different. And inside that quarterback room, oh man, it's its own drama series. Joe Flacco, the veteran warrior, steady, calm, a mentor. Gabriel, the one fading, pulling back as the spotlight passes him by. And Sanders, the kid in the middle of it, balancing politics, humility, and performance.
He doesn't have to talk big, doesn't have to make speeches. He earns respect with play, quietly threading the needle between legends and legacies. That harmony in the QB room, it's fragile, but it mirrors what's happening outside. Because let's face it, Cleveland isn't just hosting football anymore, it's hosting a cultural event. Hotels booked solid, rental cars gone, restaurants overflowing, the media crawling all over the city. Social media? Forget it. Hashtags trending worldwide, TikToks blowing up, memes spreading faster than wildfire. Everybody wants a piece of Sanders. And the corporations? He's the dream package. Young, electric, marketable. But here's the brutal truth. Saturday is the moment of truth. One brilliant game and he ascends into the stratosphere. One misstep and the bubble bursts. And the fans, they know it. They feel it in their bones. Former legends are rallying around him, showing up, lending their support. Alumni returning just to be part of the energy. Watch parties happening across the globe. I've seen people selling off personal belongings, skipping out on bills just to buy a ticket for this preseason game. That's how desperate Cleveland is. That's how hungry the city has become. Behind the curtain, preparation is relentless. Coaches staying up into the early hours, arguing schemes, scripting plays, rehearsing scenarios. Equipment managers polishing helmets until they shine like mirrors under the lights. Security running citywide drills like it's the Super Bowl. Every department, from trainers to PR, is consumed by Sanders. Even the Rams, his opponents, have admitted they're approaching this game carefully. They know this isn't just another preseason clash, it's a national showcase. And what makes Sanders terrifying isn't just raw talent, it's the brain. Coaches can't stop talking about it. His memory, his ability to process, the way he absorbs complex schemes, it's next level. Teammates feed off it. It raises their game because they know playing next to him might pull them into the spotlight too. And for Stefanski, this isn't just about developing a rookie. His entire career, his reputation, his future, it's tied directly to what Sanders becomes. That's the weight. That's the reality. Cleveland's history is scar tissue, decades of heartbreak. But Sanders, he's already rewriting the story. He's fueling the economy. He's rebuilding hope. He's turned the Browns into the epicenter of the sports world. And here's the wildest part. He hasn't even thrown a single regular season pass yet. So when Saturday night comes, when the Browns face the Rams, this isn't preseason anymore. This is destiny. Sanders is QB1. The countdown is over. The city is ready, the franchise is locked in, and the world is watching. It's glory or it's disaster. Validation or humiliation. Everything or nothing. Cleveland's future begins right now with Sanders under center. And before I wrap this up, let me say this. If you're feeling this story the way I am, if you believe we're watching something far bigger than just a football game, then ride this journey with me. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Drop a like if you're rooting for Sanders to finally rewrite Cleveland's story. And leave a comment below. I want to hear it. Do you believe this is finally Cleveland's moment? Let's talk about it.